7 for 3. Bang!
High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
If you don't get a shot away, they'll talk about it the rest of your life. Magic fires for 3. Got it! That's about it! Magic hit a three-pointer. The Lakers win.
Novak for the win. Bingo! Clippers win! Garoppolo under pressure. Donald got there in the air, intercepted by the Rams, and they may ride to the Super Bowl on that.
This is for you, Kings fans, wherever you may be. All the frustration and disappointment of the past is gone. The 45-year drought is over. The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live on Dime Dropper for the 2025-26 season. Before we get started, you already know the drill. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube for all things LA sports and, of course, LA basketball. And tonight we've got the favorite night for Dime Dropper fam, Lakers versus Clippers. Apologies for the late live. I had a club practice, but I thought I would get the live out anyway so you guys can watch it in the morning if you're not live right now. And, of course, remember, you can also listen wherever you get on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you want to be a member of the channel, I will be doing members only live starting again this week. You can ask me any question. We can break down film together. You can jump on stage for that members only live. And of course, you get access to a special giveaway at 25 members, one for Laker fans, one for Clipper fans, and one at 50 members. And let's just say if you're a Laker fan, since there are less Laker fans that are members, you have a higher chance of winning. And of course, you can skip the line at post-game interviews if you are a Clipper game that attends games and wants to be interviewed. So we got Lakers Clippers tonight. Unfortunately for my Clippers, we lost by 3 points, 125 to 122. Of course, still no Darius Garland. The Lakers, this was one of the few games that they've had Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Luka all healthy. And, you know, they're not an easy out with all three of those. Of course, I don't think they're a championship team even with all of them healthy. I think even Laker fans know that. But they definitely have more firepower than we do. And of course, this was the last game of the season series between the two of us this year, with each team winning at home. So even though we both play in LA, the home court advantage was real. Clippers winning both games at Intuit and Lakers winning both games at Staples Center. Shout out to one of my members, one of my mods, Showtime Nick. Said great win for the Lakers. And of course, remember, if you are a member, every single comment of yours will be read on live. But let's talk about this one. We're live from Los Angeles, as always. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Any donation is appreciated. Before I get into anything, you know, obviously the Clippers, we've been playing some of the best basketball in the league. You know, I've won 21 out of the last 28 games. I did go to the game last night against the Nuggets. Check that vlog out. It was amazing. I was in row one, came down to the last shot. Benedict Mathurin set the record for most points for a Clipper in their home debut. So we already knew that it was going to be tough to win on the second night of a back-to-back, especially when the Lakers have had all this rest. But we made it a game. You know, we made it a game, and even though the Lakers came out absolutely firing and Luka hit us with that classic first quarter flurry that he always hits us with, 17 freaking points in the first quarter, and we were down 41 to 30 after the first, we battled back. You know, we showed resilience. We fought, took the lead in the second half on a Ben Mathurin and one. And the part that just really frustrates me is with 5 minutes left in the game and we're down 109 to 112, Kawhi Leonard gets taken out of the game for left ankle soreness. Do I think his left ankle was actually sore that he couldn't play? If I had to guess, not really. And the reason why I say that is because Kawhi Leonard was having a discussion with Ty Lue and did not seem happy when he finished that discussion and then walked to the locker room. I thought we had gotten past this minutes restriction shit. Kawhi Leonard was supposed to be capped at 36 minutes, according to Ty Lue, before we resumed the season. He played 31 minutes tonight. and he scored 31 points in 31 minutes. Before we went on this, great run that has gotten us back into the play-in mix, we were losing games because Kawhi Leonard was playing well and then would hit his minutes limit, and then he would just come out of the game and we'd lose. I thought we'd gotten past that. And it looks like this was just another, it's kind of like returning back to, mid-December. Against the Lakers, we're on such a nice run right now. I mean, who made that call? Was it Ty Lue? Was it the medical staff? It definitely doesn't seem like it was Kawhi. That just frustrates me. And I don't care that we lost to the Lakers. A loss is a loss. But it's just every game matters right now. We're trying to take over that 8th seed from Golden State. Steph Curry's out for a while now. Of course, Jimmy Butler's out for the season. We need to try to get every win that we can. Left ankle soreness? Come on, man. And funny enough, we broke even 16-16 after that happened, but could we have won the game with our best player that was unstoppable after the first quarter? We'll never know. So just a frustrating one in that regard. The final score being 125-122. Even after Kawhi Leonard got taken out of the game and Benny Mathurin got fouled out of the game with that Euro step offensive foul, we still somehow had a chance to tie the game when LeBron turned the ball over on the inbounds pass and Nico Batum had a wide open three. And honestly, you couldn't have asked for a better look than that. It looked good, but it was just short, and we ended up losing the game. I mean, am I mad at Nico for missing that shot? Not one bit. The guy didn't really play in the fourth quarter like that. He came into the game, I believe, with he came into the game for Benedict Mathurin with 1 minute and 49 seconds left. So he hadn't taken a shot in that whole time. Actually, no, he did. He hadn't taken a shot in that whole time. So, for him to come straight off the bench and he only shot one shot the whole game before that, I didn't expect him to make that shot. So it was unfortunate, but, it wasn't really our game to win. It didn't really feel like our game to win, especially when Kawhi got taken out. I mean, when Kawhi was in, I felt like, okay, we might be able to do this. But then when he got taken out, I was like, man, because they have one of the best players in the world. And so do we. But to end the game, our best player in the world was nowhere to be, or our one of the best players in the world was nowhere to be found. And Luka, he's a great closer. The Lakers are, I think, 18-3 this season in clutch games. And for my Laker fans that are tuning into the show, and I see some of them in the comments, Mari, Showtime Nick, I do apologize for the lack of Laker lives this season. I did break down the first 21 or so games, but I haven't done any since then. But I have promised that I'm going to resume Laker lives, this second half of the season. And, just because I haven't been going live doesn't mean that I actually haven't been tuning in. I haven't been tuning in the new year, but I've literally watched at least the extended highlights or the all possessions, 35-minute version on NBA League Pass of every single Laker game, all the way, all of them in 2025, in that first half of the season, the first 30 games. I watched all of them. The first 31 games. I just haven't seen any besides the ones against the Clippers in 2026, but I will catch up on some of those and I'll be more informed when I do my lives. But let's talk about the way this game started. DeAndre Ayton, of course, guarding Brook Lopez. Luka Doncic started the game guarding Derrick Jones Jr., his former teammate. Marcus Smart on Kawhi Leonard. Austin Reeves on Chris Dunn. And LeBron James on John Collins. It was very clear what J.J. Redick's and the coaching staff strategy was with Kawhi. They were going to blitz on every ball screen and load up heavily whenever he caught the ball on the wing. Just make sure that he got rid of the ball and forced other guys to beat them. And in the first quarter, we scored a couple points off that short roll action, 7 to be exact, right away. Actually, sorry, 7 points right away on that blitz. So Kawhi was making some pretty good reads. He did have 2 turnovers early on, but for the most part, he was making some pretty good reads in that first quarter. But he only had 2 points in it. So if the mission was to get the ball out of Kawhi Leonard's hands and prevent him from shooting, the Lakers did succeed in that mission. As far as us, we had Chris Dunn guarding Luka, which I think Derrick should have guarded Luka more, just given he has more size. But Chris being our ace defensively and our number 1 point of attack guy, they wanted him on Luka. We had DJ on Austin Reeves, Brook Lopez on Ayton, Kawhi on Marcus Smart, and John Collins on LeBron. Brook Lopez got off to a really good start in this game. He had our first 7 points, 5 of them in the short roll, 9 points in the first quarter. So Brook Lopez, I mean, in terms of scoring the ball, for him to finish with 12 points in the game, I think that's a pretty good night at the office. Sorry, 16 points in the game. That's a great night for Brook Lopez. And, you know, Brook has been really solid since Zubac has been traded. And I think in this stretch that we've gone, 21-8 in our last 29 games, Brook Lopez has been a big part of that, because those first 27 games, he was rough. He was like basically a liability. So that was a good start for him. But all 3 of the Lakers' big 3 got off to a pretty solid start as well. Austin Reeves had their first 7 points. LeBron got off to a good start with 7 points. He had a fast break layup, a tough fall away going to his left over Brook, and then he hit an open 3. But LeBron ended up cooling down and not really scoring much as the game went on. But he did, like, to the point that in the fourth quarter, he airballed a layup where I was like, damn, this fool is old. But the one thing about LeBron and Luka being on the same team is you have 2 guys that are just incredible passers, and they can see over the top of your defense. And whether it be in isolation or on the drive or in pick and roll, they're such good passers of the basketball. And that can be hard to defend. You know what I mean? Because one thing you do see, and it's not like they're the most seamless fit together, but the one thing that you do see when Luka and LeBron are playing together is sometimes the 2 of them will get so much easier looks than they're used to getting, because, they're not used to playing with passers like each other. You know what I mean? So that's something that is tough to defend with them when you play against them. But Luka then just went crazy. The Lakers started 0 for 2 from the field, and then they went 11 for 11 after that. And Luka went nuts. I mean, just, you could argue we can play slightly better defense, but the shots that motherfucker makes is just ridiculous sometimes. That step back 3, just his handle, his craftiness. I mean, if anybody knows how tough it is to defend Luka Doncic, it's Clipper fans. You know what I mean? We've played him 3 times in the playoffs. Of course, do have a winning record against him, don't forget. But he was cooking our ass, and it was the best shooting quarter apparently from the Lakers since 2017, they said on the ESPN broadcast, which is nuts. They shot 84% from the field and 89% from 3 in the first quarter. Insane. So my thought was, well, hopefully they're going to cool down, and hopefully Kawhi will get going a little bit. And the largest lead they had was 16 at 50-34. But then guess who came in and started making an impact? Big Benny Mathurin getting to the line. And it's funny because all 4 of his made buckets in the first half were contested jumpers. And this is what I say about Benny. And we talked about his first 2 games with the team, right? And I was like, he's taking some tough shots. He's taking some tough contested pull-ups. And I was like, we could get better shots than that. But I was thinking to myself, I haven't seen Bennett. I know Benedict Mathurin is a scorer, but I haven't watched him on a night-to-night basis. Are those shots that he consistently makes? Are those shots that he can make? Yeah, I guess consistently. I know he can make them, but can he make those consistently? And we've seen in these last 2 games, he can hit those contested shots. He's a tough shot maker, which, that can be a double-edged sword, because tough shot maker is also a tough shot taker, and he's not a star, at least not yet. So it's really just about, with guys like that, can they contribute in other ways when their shots aren't falling? And how consistently are they making those tough shots? Because for someone like Luka or Kawhi, if they take a contested jumper, you don't really mind it as a coach or as a fan, because it's like they make those shots consistently. That's why they are stars. Benny, he's not a star. And I think that's part of the reason why, Indiana ended up making him a 6th man and promoting Andrew Nembhard, and that ended up being a thing, because he has that kind of like gunslinger game. So from what I've seen, though, we as Clipper fans now need to get adjusted to his skill set and to realize that he is a tough shot maker. He is going to make those shots, and he's going to take those shots. And through 4 games, because he's been doing other things well, I don't mind it at all. And also, to tell you the truth, until Darius Garland comes and plays, we need all the offense that we can get. We need all the shot creation that we can get. And besides Kawhi Leonard, Benny's our best option. And I'm excited to see him have that green light because he's already a very confident player, but I think at times he might have been restricted because the Pacers play such a, free-flowing offense that is predicated on pushing the ball and getting a screen and then moving it quickly and getting the ball to both sides. If you're a member of this channel, you'll see I did the post-game breakdowns. I've only released the first two from last year's first-round series against Milwaukee from Indiana, and I'm going to keep releasing those as the season goes on. I'm just being a lazy bum, but I will. Now that my school season's over, because I still want to make sure that every single year I have this channel, I talk about every playoff game because that is basketball history, the playoffs. So, with Indiana last year, they were just running and gunning like crazy. And Benny in those first two games was a part of that. But, they definitely flowed better with Nembhard. And I can understand why that happened. But my whole point is we need to become adjusted to the fact that Benny's going to take tough shots. He's going to make tough shots. That's just kind of the player that he is. And he came in and gave us a nice injection in this game. And then Kawhi in the second quarter, oh my God, putting on a show. And the key was to not ask for screens because they're going to blitz. So just go one-on-one, pull up over the defense before the double comes. 5 points he scored where the Lakers just gambled and sold out and didn't get the steal. And then there was 5 points he scored on Jake LaRavia, but he had 19 points in the second quarter, 11 consecutive for us. And we got right back in the game. And then unfortunately, even though we did outscore the Lakers 35-31 in the second quarter, and the score was 72-65 at halftime, we did catch a bad, break. Something bad happened in the second quarter, and that was the hard fall that John Collins took on the side of his head, bleeding all over the place, and he had to get stitches. So I'm just hoping that JC is good for the next game because that did not look pretty. And JC has been awesome for us. And, you can start to say this season, but, he started out so slowly, but obviously these last 29 games, he's been an integral part of why we've been great. And he was playing well in this game too. He had 8 points in the first quarter. He had a layup off of Kawhi, getting so much attention off of him early. Then he had a turnaround mid-range from the left wing, which he also had one against Christian Brown yesterday that was actually made it into my vlog. And then he had a nice interception that led to a layup in that first quarter. So he was having a good game before he got hurt. Only finished playing 16 minutes, but had 12 points in those 16 minutes to go along with a rebound and a steal. Did turn the ball over twice, but he was 5 for 8 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. It's kind of a what if JC had not gotten hurt, would we have won the game? It was hard to see him not close. We closed with Jordan Miller, and all due respect to Jordan Miller, he's been really solid for us in this run, but he's not one of our closers. With all these guys healthy, so that was unfortunate. But in the second half, I just was hoping that we could get some stops. And in the third quarter, we did a better job of that. We outscored the Lakers 30-27 in the third. I thought Chris Dunn was just trying his best on Luka. You can't fully stop Luka. You can only hope to make life tough for him and contain him and hope to contest his shots and not send him to the line. And in the third quarter, we only allowed 2 free throw attempts from him, and he was 1 for 6 in the third. So we did a pretty good job of starting to make life tougher for him. And a lot of that is Chris Dunn, a little bit of Derrick Jones Jr. as well. And we went on a 17-1 run led by Kawhi, whether it be him scoring or making plays for others. And then Benedict Mathurin got in on the act. We had DJ attack some closeouts. He had 6 points in that third quarter, but Benny had 9 points in the third, and 5 of those were from the free throw line. And he played the whole third quarter in place of John Collins. So, that and one was big time, gave us the lead. A 17-1 run, as I said. And it really started when LeBron and Austin Reeves went out. Because when LeBron came out of the game, we were down by 8. And you're just taking away one star caliber player from, I don't even want to say star caliber player, a star. LeBron was an all-star. Whether you thought he deserved it or not, he's still LeBron's still a star. Even at his age, he's still very good. He's definitely shown some decline this year, though, for sure, from last year. But hey, man, eventually you got to start declining a little bit. The guy's been an all-star player fucking 22 of his 23 seasons. You know what I'm saying? So, You take him out of the game, we're only down by 8. And you take AR out of the game, we're only down by 5. And then we end up taking the lead because we were, letting other guys shoot and doing a good job as well on Luka. So they started finally cooling down. And I want to say, even though I haven't talked about any games with Luke Kennard as a Laker, it is really hard to see Luke Kennard as a Laker. It was hard to see him as a Grizzly because I just hate the Grizzlies, teddy bears. But I love Luke Kennard. You can check out the vlogs from when he was on the Clippers. We really enjoyed it, especially that game against Houston. If you can link that vlog, I see my mod Daniel Barry in here, or I'm sorry, one of my members, Daniel Barry, says, "Hey everyone, happy Saturday, GG, go Lakers." If I have one of my mods or my members in here that can link that vlog of Luke Kennard going nuclear against Houston in 2022, link that up in the comments because that was classic, but tough to see it. But Luke Kennard, he hasn't really improved much. He's still the same guy who's a lights-out shooter, but he passes up open shots and is a below-average defender and doesn't do anything really well besides shoot the ball. I mean, he moves without the ball well, but when you look at Luke Kennard, his best seasons, were really with the Clippers. That 22 season, he shot 45% from 3 and averaged 12 points. To me, that was like the best season of his career. Because the other ones, in 2024, his first full season with Memphis, he played 39 games. So he's always shot the lowest he's ever shot from 3 is 39.4% his sophomore year. So he's lights out from 3 when he gets those looks. But for example, for Atlanta, right? This was his first season with the Hawks. Well, last season he played 65 games for Memphis. And he averaged 9 points, and he had shot 48% from the field and 43 from 3. That's a good season statistically, but the Grizzlies sucked, so it doesn't matter. His best season was definitely with the Clippers. He played 70 games and averaged 27 minutes a game, which to this day is his career high besides Detroit, where they were rebuilding, and he averaged 12 points. For me, that was easily his – oh, I'm sorry. The Grizzlies weren't trash last year. They were the 8th seed. What am I saying? So, last season he wasn't bad, but the best season of his career was with the Clippers, and he hasn't really gotten better. So, the Lakers needed some shooting. They got him, whatever. But, I don't know. I just don't like seeing him on the Lakers because I love the guy. But anyway, going into the fourth quarter, we were down by 4, right? And when Kawhi came out, I was very frustrated. Jordan Miller, he missed a wide open 3 and a layup around the rim. Those were some really good looks. And then Luka took over, and Marcus Smart started making some tough shots. That and one he made with a minute left was so annoying. Jordan Miller got his hands in the cookie jar, and I have to say, just wasn't a great game from Jordan Miller. It is what it is. He did score 10 points, though, so it was nice to see him get back in double figures, but I don't know. It wasn't his best game, at least in the fourth quarter. I thought he played well besides that, honestly. But, Jordan Miller right now is not supposed to be closing in a game like this. Just real shit. But Benedict Mathurin getting fouled out on that offensive foul was tough. And he had 4 fouls in the fourth quarter, some of which were very ticky-tack. The Marcus Smart 3, or was it a long 2 they called? The foul on the alley-oop that DeAndre Ayton missed. And DeAndre Ayton, man, he looked so suspect. The amount of times he just dropped the ball was just weird. And it's funny because, I know DA's really tailed off as the season's gone on, but the first 25 games or so, Ayton was great. But, hey, man, a zebra don't change his stripes. Eventually, it was going to come out. You see the deficiencies, and it's all mental with him, I think. It's just he's so soft mentally for an NBA player, for a player of his talent. How do you just drop the ball so much? I don't know. But that and one, when Marcus Smart had that and one, I was like, we're not going to win because no Benedict Mathurin anymore. And even before Benedict Mathurin fouled out, he's our best and only real shot creator. We have DJ, Chris Dunn, Jordan Miller, Brook Lopez out there. That's not ideal against LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Luka. You know what I'm saying? But then when Benny goes out, I thought for sure we're going to lose. But somehow, DJ got an and one, and he missed that free throw. And if only he had made that free throw, we wouldn't have had to go for a 3 on that last possession. But I thought one thing that we could have done a little bit of a better job of was Chris Dunn was just overly aggressive towards the end of the game and picked up some cheap fouls, especially that one where he got Luka to stop his dribble and just kept on swiping. And then Luka put the ball on the floor again and then got bumped. That was unfortunate. And am I going to say that the calls were kind of BS? A little bit. But I'm not the type that complains about calls. I think there were some questionable calls both ways. Did we get the shorter end of the stick? Probably, but we are on the road. So it is what it is. Ty Lue was visibly frustrated after the game. He had a 2-minute press conference and he said, this doesn't look like it. I don't remember his exact words, but he said something along the lines of, this is not a team that's going to fucking trying to lose or something, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest mystery of the game is, did Kawhi actually have ankle soreness, or did he get load managed? Because we're just not in a position to be load managing him right now. But yeah, his quote was, that doesn't look like a fucking team that's trying to lose to me. I don't even know why he said that, but hey, he was fired up. It is what it is. We lose 125 to 122 in a game that just didn't feel like ours. But I hope John Collins and Kawhi are okay. We shot 55% from the field in the game in the end. The Lakers shot 52%, but this was the big difference. We shot 38% from three, which was better than last night, but it was a very low volume of threes, just 8 for 21, which is very 2000s and like low-key 90s like. 21 three-point attempts is nothing in today's NBA. The Lakers not only shot 31 threes, they made 17 of them. They shot 55% from three. They shot better from three than they did from the field. Honestly, if they didn't win, it would have been terrible. If you shoot 55% from three at home and lose, oh my God, they had to win this game, to be honest with you. And then from the free throw line, we actually ended up shooting more free throws anyway. So I'm not really going to complain too much with the fouls, although I do always say that free throw discrepancy is not the sole indication of who gets the better whistle. But Lakers were 20 for 25 from the free throw line. Clippers were 24 for 29 from the free throw line. We out-rebounded them by 10, 42 to 32. We had 10 offensive rebounds to their 5. 3 from Brook Lopez, 3 from DJ. But they ended up getting the job done. So Clippers played a 9-man rotation. Lakers played a 10-man rotation. I guess I'll start with reading the lines from the Lakers first. Jared Vanderbilt played the least with 10 minutes. He was very quiet. He had 2 points and 2 assists, no turnovers on 1 for 2 shooting. Jackson Hayes played 11 minutes. He actually was pretty good in his 11 minutes. 8 points, caught a lob, 3 rebounds, 1 block. So 8, 3, and 1, no turnovers on 4 for 5 shooting in 11 minutes. I think that's a really solid night at the office for Jackson Hayes, just given his role off the bench. And then Jake LaRavia, 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. One thing about Jake LaRavia that they mentioned on the broadcast, and I didn't know it offhand, he has played every game this season for the Lakers. So he's been a very nice addition, I think. He's knocked down threes. He's played hard. He's had some good defensive games. He's had some not so good defensive games. Actually, never mind. He's shooting 33% from three, which isn't great. So, but I think overall, I mean, look, as I said, I've watched the first 31 games of the Lakers, and I think in the first 31 games, he's been good. He's been a good addition, a very good addition at that. But how has he been since then? I don't know, honestly. So I'll get back to you on that. Laker fans, you let me know in the comments, what do you think of Jake LaRavia this season? Because I want to hear from you guys. So, and shout out to all my Laker fans that support the channel. And, I've not been giving them the content that they deserve this season. And I apologize. I may need to, reevaluate how I do this next season. And, I don't want to promise Laker fans that I can cover every game, because I don't think in my adult life I'll be able to do that. I think I'll be able to cover Laker games frequently, but multiple times a month, but every game is not feasible. And I just feel like I let you down. So I apologize for that. It's not 2021 or 2022 anymore, unfortunately. Even honestly, in 2023 and 2024, I still did so many Laker games. But last year with the fires, that's when it really started to hurt. And then I think 2024, I also struggled to keep up as well. But I still ended up doing it. And I've obviously covered every single Laker game since I started this channel in the playoffs, from 2021 onwards. So the next guy that played off the bench was my good old friend, Kennard. 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers on 4 for 6 shooting and 1 for 3 from deep. Solid game for him off the bench, I'd say. But again, I'm not looking at this game from a Laker fan perspective. I'm looking at it from our perspective. Rui on the bench. I don't know how long has that been a thing. Jesus, I'm so out of touch. Because by game 31, Rui was still starting. So when did that happen? Laker fans, let me know when that happened, because I don't know when he got benched, but it's obvious why. A point of attack defender in the starting lineup. A lot of Laker fans have been asking for that for a long time. And I remember, because in the beginning of the season, Smart was starting because LeBron was out. So it made a lot of sense. And Smart, I mean, that version of the team in the beginning of the season with Luka and AR going berserk and Smart defending was really good. That really made a lot of sense. Then you got LeBron back and it pushed Smart to the bench, and JJ elected to go with Rui in the starting lineup, which gives you a lot of offensive firepower, but does not give you that same, defensive point of attack guy there. So, because they've had so many injuries anyway that, Marcus has gotten to start in 37 of the 44 games, but it is a little bit of a dilemma when you have all those guys. I think Rui, though, just based on his skill set, is better to come off the bench. And in this game, he only scored 3 points, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers on 1 for 4 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep. So if you look at the Lakers bench, all they gave you was 25 points. Ben Mathurin had 26 points by himself. The Lakers starters all played 28 minutes or more. DeAndre Ayton played 28 minutes. He had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, and 1 turnover on 5 for 10 shooting, and made all 3 of his free throws. I thought he was whatever, not great in my opinion. But again, I'm not a Laker fan. I'm not watching it from their perspective. So if you're a Laker fan, you can tell me what you thought of his performance. Then you have Marcus Smart, who played 29 minutes. And for the longest time, he hadn't even taken a shot or scored or assisted. But then he made huge plays in the fourth quarter, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover on 3 for 4 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3, and missed both of his free throws. Marcus Smart scored all 7 of his points in the fourth quarter, and that ended up being really big for the Lakers to get this win. And then the big 3. Austin Reeves played 33 minutes, and I thought he was really good. 29 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers on 9 for 15 shooting, 4 for 5 from downtown, and 7 for 7 from the free throw line. So 60, 80, 100 splits for AR. Really good game for him. And then LeBron really cooled down, but he had some really good passes throughout the night. 13 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers on 5 for 13 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. I also will say this. You see that LeBron can still do more than this when Luka is out. But with Luka, it really minimizes LeBron, And credit to LeBron, he's sacrificing, but he doesn't really have a choice. This is Luka's team now. It's Luka's franchise now. And I don't know how much of a fan of that he is. But, I think he realizes that it's going to preserve him for the long haul anyway. So it's best for him to do that. But LeBron, when I've watched him this season, he just looked older. He's had some glimpses, though, where he's been like, okay, he's still nice like that. But he's just looked older overall. Last year, he was still good. I mean, in the playoffs, the guy worked his ass off, but he just didn't have legs to close because he actually played really hard defensively in the playoffs against Minnesota last year, but he had no legs to close. But he looked a lot better last year than this year, in my opinion. It's been, to me, this season has been the biggest drop-off for LeBron from a season to a season since, from any season. Because for me, he was a lot worse after the Solomon Hill injury. His stats in 2022 might not back that up, but that was on a losing team where he was scoring and, he wasn't defending a lick. And, his scoring was not actually doing anything for anyone else. It was like a lot of ball stopping, a lot of ISO. And it's just, when LeBron plays heavy ISO, it's the ball. He doesn't make quick moves. It doesn't make quick decisions. So it's very stagnant. It's not like, LeBron is one of the best scorers of all time, and he's number 1 all-time scorer. But when you compare him to the likes of, I don't even like putting his name in these conversations when it comes to scoring, but dare I say 23 and 24, they just score in a much more efficient manner, not in terms of field goal percentage, but in terms of the time that they take to do things in the half court and to get their shot off in the half court. And I think that's easier to flow in terms of ball movement. But anyway, that's just my point on LeBron. And then Luka, obviously the player of the game, 38 points, 6 boards, 11 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers on 11 for 25 shooting, 8 for 14 from 3, and 8 for 11 from the free throw line in 38 minutes. 38 points in 38 minutes. And 11 assists. The guy is spectacular. And how about 3 steals and a block? It's big time. Clippers, we played a 9-man rotation. Kobe Sanders caught his 2nd straight DNP, which is a little bit concerning to me because it sounds like he's being taken out of the rotation with the addition of Ben Mathurin, and I don't love that because Kobe Sanders has been a big part of what we've done, and I want to still try to develop the youth, Shout out to my man, Danny, one of my members. Remember, if you want to be a member, you get perks. The special giveaways at 25 and 50 members. You can have every single comment of yours read in the live. You'll be entitled to a members only live where we can break down film of any player or team from the last 20 years on Synergy. And you can jump on stage and we can talk and ask me any question you want. And that'll be usually every Wednesday, but worst case Fridays if we don't do Wednesdays. I forgot to do one today because I'm an idiot, but I'm also getting my club players ready for our biggest club tournament yet with 6 teams playing in it. So basically in 5 hours, I'm going to be awake getting ready for this club tournament. And I'm still doing Locked On tonight. So there's no sleep because ball is life. Now, 9-man rotation. Yannick played 13 minutes. I thought he was pretty solid. Had a bad offensive foul in that fourth quarter on that moving screen where he pushed Austin Reeves. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers on 2 for 3 shooting and made both his free throws. Nico played 15 minutes, had a donut, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Did not turn the ball over. Was 0 for 2 from the field, and both those shots were threes. I already mentioned John Collins only played 16 minutes. And then you had Jordan Miller, who had 10 points off the bench, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 3 for 8 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, and made all 4 of his free throws. I mean, the good news is Jordan Miller did get back in double figures after, 6 straight games of single-digit points. So that was unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but it's nice to see that he got back in double figures. And then Benny, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers on 7 for 16 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3. And how about 11 for 14 from the free throw line? He shot more free throws than anyone in the game, including Luka. He's been getting to the line. And, again, when you take out Harden, you need some guys that can get to the line. And Benny has been showing that. And we need it badly. And he doesn't grift like Harden does. He doesn't just sometimes he gets bumped and he throws it up like SGA. But the stupid fucking, fouls on the step back threes every time he gets hit on the elbow or gets touched on the hand or he sticks his legs out that Harden does. And then every time he gets hand checked and bumped, he throws it up. It's a much more ethical way of getting fouls, in my opinion. And a lot of it's him trying to get downhill. So, 26 points coming off a 38-point game. So he's averaging 32 points. No, sorry, 37. No. Yeah, I was right the first time. 32 points since the All-Star break. No, my math was wrong. 37. Am I retarded? My math is off. Oh, no, yeah, I was right. No, I was right. 32 points. Yeah. He's averaging 32 points in these 2 games since the All-Star break. The dude has been, and if you want to just talk about since he's in the Clipper, he's averaging 22 points a game. His 3-ball hasn't been great, though. He's only shooting 23% from 3 as a Clipper. But the fact that he's only shooting 23% from 3 as a Clipper and he's playing this well tells you that once he starts shooting better, watch out. Watch out. I'm so excited about Benny, man. I'm very close to buying his jersey. I'm very close. I don't know if I'm going to get a jersey for the rest of the season, though. I already have my red Chris Dunn, white Zubats, and blue Nico. So that might be it for this year. I'm not a huge fan of the City Edition. I don't know. But I'm loving Benny. 26 points. He was our second leading scorer in the game. And then our starters, besides John Collins. Chris Dunn, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 turnovers on 4 for 4 shooting. I thought he was really good. It's just some bad fouls at the end of the game. But Chris Dunn, he always puts in his shift. He always works his ass off. He's played in all 50. No, I'm sorry. He's missed 1 game this entire season. But he's been so great since he's been a Clipper, to be honest. Derrick Jones Jr., how great is it to have him back, man? He just continues to be fantastic. I'm just thankful to have him back. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and a turnover on 6 for 10 shooting, 1 for 3 from 3. Missed his only free throw, which was pretty big in that last minute of the game. But, 39 minutes of play. He played more minutes than anyone on our team and more minutes than anyone in the game. It's just DJ's been through a lot this year with his 2 injuries against Boston, and I'm hoping that he can stay healthy the rest of the year because he's so important to this team. And then we had Brook Lopez, who I thought was fantastic, a double-double. And how often do you see Brook Lopez get 10 rebounds these days? The guy does not rebound. This was his only double-digit rebound game of the season so far. So shout out to Brook Lopez, 16 and 10 to go along with an assist, 3 blocks and 2 steals. And one thing I'll give Brook Lopez credit for, he's done a really good job of when he's showing on ball handlers and pick and roll defensively, he's getting his hand in the cookie jar and getting some deflections and steals. So, and he did a lot of that against Houston. So I was very happy with Brook Lopez's performance tonight. 16 and 10, as I said, 2 steals, 3 blocks on 7 for 12 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, and 1 for 1 from the free throw line. The only thing that Brook Lopez has not done well enough this season, which is funny because it's like the reason we got him, is shoot threes. He's 35% from the field, or 35% from 3 this season. And as a result, because so many of his shots are threes, he's shooting 38.5% from the field, which is ass for a center. And then Kawhi, unfortunate, 31 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. Did turn the ball over 5 times, though, but he was 11 for 19 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and 5 for 5 from the line. 31 points in 31 minutes, but we couldn't finish the game with him. So it's unfortunate. We dropped to 27 and 29. Did not quite get back to 500, which I'm really hoping we can get back to. Lakers advanced to 34 and 21. Obviously, they have much different expectations than we do this season. But hey, man, let's see what happens. We got a good amount of season left to be played. And that's it. So appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, man. It's an unfortunate loss. I will not be at the next home game unless my club tournament ends at around 4 o'clock or even 5. If it ends at 5, I'll be able to make it to the game, but I doubt it. I think we're going to be in this tournament late. And so I'd say 65% chance I'm not at the next home game on Sunday. 35 I am. If I'm not, you'll get a live at night. So check out the vlog though of last night. It was amazing. Check that out. And of course, all my All-Star weekend content. I was at every single event. It was amazing. So check that out. The age-old proverb continue. Oh, I'm not on Locked On. Peace, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Check out the comments. Let me know what you thought in the video in the comment section. Let me know about all the questions I asked. And of course, if you're listening on audio, appreciate you as well. Peace out and on to the next one.